Hello Battlecats players, my name is Chance and welcome to my guide. Today we're looking at really a milestone cat for us more than anything else, being Bodhisattva cat. And this cat is a milestone in two ways. First and foremost, this is the first cat we're covering that is just available in a rare cat capsule. And secondly, this is the first of these super rare cats we're looking into. So needless to say, I'm pretty dang excited. And as always, it is my hope that throughout this video and exploring Bodhisattva cat's evolutions, performance, strategies and use cases, as well as their talents and various other things, you can get a full picture of how to best utilize this cat in your game. Help you make an informed decision whether or not you even want to invest into this cat, and if you do, how to best utilize him. Now first, let's take a look at his evolutionary line, and before anyone points it out, I apologize for the pronunciation of these words. As a borderline exclusively English-speaking individual, these aren't really my repertoire, so I do apologize in advance. In any case, the evolutionary line starts with Bodhisattva cat himself, whose description reads, "A cat that has reached a state of peace and pushed his body beyond physical limits. Might slow floating enemies." Then at level 10, it evolves into Avalokitesava cat, whose description reads, "A Bodhisattva cat who has shown compassion to many and all battle cats, might slow floating enemies, area attack." Then at level 30, after using some Catfruit and XP, which we will get into in a little bit, it true forms into Tathagata cat, whose description reads, "Enlightened compassion flows from this cat. But they say even the Buddha has a breaking point. Area attack might weaken and slow floating enemies." And holy moly, are these cat names a mouthful. Now then, let's take a look at his overall performance. Bodhisattva cat is considered to be a pure crowd controller. Crowd controllers being units that are used to kind of inflict status effects, so like slow, freeze, weaken, curse, etc. Under pros, you have fast attack rate, decent health and DPS, and area attack. Under cons, you have high cost and long recharge time. And as far as other considerations are concerned, he has a 40% chance to slow floating enemies and a 30% chance to weaken floating enemies while in his true form. Now, looking at this list, you'd say he's pretty good, right? All of these things tend to make sense for most units, decent health, DPS, area attack, fast attack rate, all great. I will add as well, his range also isn't that bad. It's actually pretty good, especially when it's true form. But we'll talk about that in more detail in a little bit here. The thing that really holds Bodhisattva cat, however, is his long recharge time. And not necessarily for the reason you might think. Now let's take a look at some of his strategies and use cases and see how he sizes up against the other cats in his area. First and foremost, as far as cost is concerned, Chapter 1 will be 1100 cents, Chapter 2 1650 cents, and Chapter 3 2200 cents. So the long and short of it, while Bodhisattva cat is actually a very solid anti-floating unit, there's one that's better. That being, of course, Bishop cat, who ultimately true forms into Sanzo cat. And while he will have his own dedicated video, unfortunately, he's just better than Bodhisattva cat in virtually every way in practical senses. By this, what I mean is Bodhisattva actually has the higher stats of the two, but the issue is spammability. Sanzo's recharge time is just too dang quick, and Bodhisattva just can't really keep up with that. So it's kind of one of those like 1 million ants versus 1 lion kind of scenarios. However, with that being said, if you don't have Sanzo cat unlocked, which is a possibility, Bodhisattva can be used in his place. This is especially true when it comes to Buns, Shy Boys, and a handful of the Cyclones even. Just bear in mind when using this cat that unfortunately he will likely be replaced as soon as you get Bishop cat unlocked. As far as his true form goes, Tathagata cat is actually very impressive in terms of stats, gaining a lot more health, more attack power, and better range. And while this does increase its overall use, it's still very situational cat, especially if you have Necrodancer cat, who also is more spammable than Tathagata cat. You're kind of seeing the trend here, right? There is still a small use case window for Tathagata cat in the case of certain enemies that can outrange Sanzo cat, making him basically useless. Notable floating enemies that do this are Muth, Moth, and Owlbrow. However, even in these cases, there are other ways around these enemies that don't involve Tathagata cat at all. It really is kind of those unfortunate circumstances where it's like the cat they tell you not to worry about, and then you, right? And Sanzo cat being the cat they tell you not to worry about. And unfortunately, with so much of this game being built around stalling tactics, the slow feature is actually really impressive. And that is a large part of the reason why Sanzo cat has such a dedicated position in the meta, and not a lot of cats can really take it away from him. Certainly, not Bodhisattva cat at least. Now then, let's take a look at his cat combo. He only has one, it's called Helping Hand, and it's a slow effect up of the small variety. It involves Bodhisattva cat and mother cat, and this is a very, sus cat combo for a reason or two. In any case, it increases the effectiveness of the slow duration by 10%, which is fine. Overall, I don't really see anything inherently wrong with this. 2-cat combo for a 10% increase to one of the more useful effects in the game. Sure. Even using this in tandem with Sanzo cat could probably make a lot of sense, but at this point he'd be relegated to like a combo slave role. Now let's take a look at his true form and cat fruit requirements here. So you're going to need 4 green cat fruit, which can be obtained by the growing green stage every Monday. 2 purple cat fruit, which can be obtained from the growing purple stage every Tuesday. 1 blue cat fruit, which can be obtained from the growing blue stage every Thursday. 1 yellow cat fruit, which can be obtained but from the growing yellow stage every Friday. And 1 epic cat fruit, which can actually be obtained from any of the growing stages with the exception of growing strange and growing evil at a fairly moderate chance. Dual cyclone fights will also drop this cat fruit, and at least when the second stage is cleared. And after you complete an ancient curse, epic cat fruit can be obtained from the growing epic stage every weekend for a few hours. And then also 500,000 XP, which you just get from grinding mostly. Now then, I'm just going to flash you a couple of screens regarding Bodhisattva's stats while reading out some trivia. In Buddhism, a Bodhisattva is someone who is able to reach nirvana but chooses not to do so in order to help others attain enlightenment. Avalokitesvara means the Lord who looks down with compassion, and is a many-armed Bodhisattva who embodies the compassion of all Buddhas. And Tathagata is an honorific title of a Buddha. The historical Buddha, Siddhartha Gautama, would often refer to himself as the Tathagata instead of using any personal pronouns. The meaning of this word is unknown, but it is widely believed to be the one who has thus gone, or the one who has thus come. Even though Avalokitesvara cat's hands attack at a different time, it wasn't updated to have multi-hit in version 6.0. Interesting. Now then, let's talk about his talents. Tathagata cat has access to the following talents. Weaken, which increases the weaken duration by about 0.27 seconds per level, up to a total of 2.67 seconds, costing a total of 125 NP. Slow, which increases the slow duration by 0.17 seconds per level, up to 1.67 seconds total, for a total NP cost of 125. And then the defensive and attack buff, which increase the respective traits by 2% per level up to 20%, each costing 125 NP each, and a movement speed up, which upgrades movement speed by 1 per level up to 10 for a total cost of 125 NP. As far as the usefulness of these talents go, not a lot of them are really great. The movement speed can be detrimental, and since you're using him as a crowd controller, it's not really worth investing into his defense and attack buffs, making the only viable talents to invest into the weaken and slow trait respectively. Of course, bear in mind that this cat is likely to be replaced by Sanzo cat at some point, so I probably wouldn't invest into any of these at all, especially considering how precious of a resource NP becomes. It's just usually not worth it. It is, once again, kind of disappointing, but it is what it is, and this cat is likely never to get a real rework. So it's kind of relegated to this just suboptimal state of being, despite the fact it has beautiful animations, and it is a well-designed cat physically. Now to a new addition to these videos, and this is something I have been hinting at for quite some time now, is I'm going to be including fan responses, at least the ones collected from the community channel, and apply it to the videos. Now bear in mind, I am only going to be able to read out the ones that have actually been published at the time of me making this recording, but if there are any additional ones before the release of this video, I'll just add them in post. Firstly, we have Dwayne Ong 9162. Who said, useful to me when I am battling stages that have anti-floating enemies. Fair enough, but I think you spelled battling wrong. Then you have I'm Broke 5029 that has just said, bruh, and nice profile picture. Then you have a longtime contributor of this channel at I'm Freaking Stupid, who has a channel of his own that you guys should probably take a look at. I don't know, it's kind of cool. And he says, overshadowed by Sanzo, bad unit, 2 out of 10. Well, in a vacuum, I think that ranking's a little bit harsh. In the overall meta, I do kind of agree. And then at the bottom there, you have BeEater8972, who is a long-time contributor of this channel and a very insightful individual. You'll see him in the comments of most videos. And he has said, only useful really early on until you get Sanzo, and sometimes useful in some restriction stages. I feel like a lot of the restriction stages he's talking about just have longer range enemies that outrange Sanzo, but I'm not too sure. In any case, if you would like to be featured in a video like these fine people have been, then be sure to comment on the community tab on the relevant posts. And that's really all there is to say about Bodhisattva Cat. I mean, it is a shame because in a vacuum he isn't that bad of a unit, but in the current meta he's just outshined by really one of the more prominent figures in it. In any case, if I missed anything, got anything wrong, or misrepresented anything, be sure to fill in the gaps down beneath in the comment section. I sure would appreciate it. In addition to that, if there's any way I might be able to improve this channel, let me know down beneath and I would like to hear you out. Thank you so much for watching, and Cat God demands you like and subscribe. Otherwise, he's going to take away your Uber rolls. In any case, kidding aside, like and subscribe, and as always, I will talk to you guys later.